Okay, well, welcome to the exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I'm very excited to be back. It's officially Big Brother season. And I love doing these long form interviews. And I've kind of been bothering this guy for a minute, and I'm so excited that he's here. Big Brother 3 icon, Jason Guy, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hey, Sharon, icon. I'll take that. I don't know that it's deserved, but it's very, very much appreciated.
Of course, it's deserved. My first, obviously, I keep up with you on social media a bit, but like for the
Okay,
uninitiated, let's say like there's some fans watching that don't sort of know what the update is. Give us a life update. How are you, Jason?
okay. I doing great, fantastic, wonderful. No, life is really good. I live in Orlando, Florida. When I was on Big Brother 3, let's flashback, Sharon. That was 2002, and
Yes.
we have a lot of contestants in the Big Brother house this season. They were born either that year or after. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So I was 25 then in the summer of 2002. Um, Flash forward, I worked in casting after that, something a lot of reality alums end up doing. So a bunch of CBS shows like Survivor, Amazing Race, and then did some other network shows and ended up having a casting producer kind of help steer me in the direction of TV news. And so I worked in Richmond, Virginia, and then on to Orlando, Florida. I've been here almost 16 years as one of the morning anchors, and it's been a great ride. So if you're in Orlando, you've come here for the theme parks or the beaches or the rocket launches, whatever, tune us in on the NBC affiliate, Wesh 2. Yeah, so Wesh 2 New Sunrise is where you'll see me every weekday morning. And as far as other things in life, married, got kids. We're in the process of teaching a 15-year-old how to drive, so that's a thing happening in life. But I mean, I feel like life is great, and it's summertime, so it's my favorite time of the year where we get to watch Big Brother. That's what summer is all about to me.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask, like, I know you podcasted about a bit about the show. How much
Yeah.
over the years have you kept up on it?
Oh, I've been a fan since season one, and that's why after watching season one, I was like, I'm intrigued, and it was a very different show than season two. And then when season two rolled around, and with Dr. Will and Mike Boogie and Chilltown and all that, I was like, I gotta audition for the show, and then made it on season three. And Hannah made mention, Hannah Chada from BB 23,
Three.
who was on the podcast with us, and also Rachel Riley is a part of that until this summer because she's back in the BB house. So we'll talk about that too, and how she
Yep.
pulled that scam off with us. Um, but Rachel and Hannah had talked about, you meet those Big Brother contestants on some of the previous seasons. It's so exciting, and they're like the celebrities in my world. And even meeting some of the new cast members, my wife and I were in LA one September, and I think it was Joseph. After doing the interview, we'd stayed in touch. Because type 1 diabetes is something that's very personal, near and dear to his heart with his brother, and my daughter has it. And so we built this connection, and he was like, hey, all of us from the season are wherever they were in LA. And my wife and I went and hung out with the BB cast members, and we're like, gosh, it was like, so
Wow.
that's Sari, and oh my, and then we talked to Jag, and it was just like this thing that we got invited to. Totally, the timing just happened. I mean, couldn't have been any better. It worked out perfectly that we were there, and it was the finale. And we had planned it months before that, not knowing. They usually keep it kind of under wraps when the finale's happening. And I say that to say, when I got out of the Big Brother house, I was walking in Los Angeles. I was evicted on a Wednesday, Thursday, and the finale was coming up within a few days. And, or maybe I got booted on a Saturday night. It's not important, but I saw Curtis from BB1, and I was like, Curtis. And he was like, Jason. And I was like, how do you know me? and, and that was so cool. And then we saw Will and Mike somewhere, and we're like, oh, and then, you start meeting all these other contestants, and I met Nicole from that season, and they were the biggest celebrities. Like, I think most people would react to seeing whoever it is, Brad Pitt or Tom
Yeah.
Cruise walk in a room. Those were my celebs because I've watched that show and then haven't missed a summer. And there are some summers where
Wow.
I feel like I love the show, the competitions, the cast, maybe more than others, but I can't pick a favorite because it's like picking your favorite kid. It's just
Yeah.
it's always good. And this summer, I believe Sharon is setting itself up to be really a great one.
I mean, I've been keeping an eye on the feeds. It's only been 12 hours or so, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of drama. Watching Big Brother every summer really just reminds me just how much mental strength it takes to be in that house. You have 24/7 cameras, nonstop social strategy, backstabbing, and no real escape. So it really makes you think about your own mental health too, which is why I'm happy to say that this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I've been reflecting just how important it is to take care of ourselves, not only when things are tough, but even if things feel a little bit off. I've had moments in my life where I felt like maybe I should be further along, but I held off on therapy because I felt like you needed some big crisis to justify it. But the expectations that we put on ourselves are heavy, and a therapist can really help unpack that. And covering reality TV for so many years, one thing I've learned is that mental health just is not talked about enough. And that's why I love what BetterHelp is doing, because BetterHelp makes therapy more accessible. You fill out a short questionnaire and they match you with a therapist within a few days. And if it's not the right fit, you switch your therapist at no extra cost. BetterHelp has over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, so you know it is a platform that people trust. Visit betterhelp.com/Sharon Tharp for 10% off your first month.
Well, and my hours are odd doing morning television, so I'm up really early and I turn them on, and everybody's sleeping at that hour. So
Oh,
I'm just like, okay, about noon. Noon here on the East Coast, they start getting up, and this is the time of year where I go, oh, it was so much better when I did live in Los Angeles because I was
that's
on
true.
their time. I could watch the feeds, but I remember. Speaking of the feeds, wow, season one, I watched dial up on AOL
Oh,
and I was watching the live feeds. You had to use that real player. Were you a fan back then, Sharon?
I was, but I didn't watch feeds until 11. So,
Okay.
I
Okay.
was young.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling on my age. I'm 48 now. I had to think about it. I just turned
Oh,
48 in
we're
June.
not
Yeah.
that far apart.
Okay. Okay. But I was watching the feed season one, and
Wow.
I remember being blown away by it. And I remember the final couple of contestants. It was, I think, was it Josh and Curtis? I can't even remember the final two. I know Josh ended up winning that. And I was like, they're going to shut the feeds off, and then we're going to go into the live show, and then it's over. It's like, what am I going to do with all this time I now have? And I'm like, my friends are gone, because you know so much about these total strangers that you feel like you know them.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I'm talking about this all summer, and some of my friends who don't watch the show are like, "What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, who are these people now in your life?" It's weird.
It is, and you get to talk to them, and at times get to meet them in real life. I mean, I know I've seen you in the audience before, so you've met some of them. I feel like you probably feel the same way that I do, where you're like, oh my gosh, they're here in real life. Like, it's exciting.
It's very cool. And like especially when you were on, obviously the show now reality TV is gone to what it is, but back then,
Yeah.
like you were saying, even more so, like during your season, I mean, you guys got out of the house and just like Survivor, it was a huge, huge thing. And I'm
Mhm.
curious, like, what was that adjustment period like getting back to quote unquote real life?
Sharon, it's strange because my parents were there, and my brother and his wife flew in, and so we had a couple of days to walk around, and you do get recognized some, and it was odd. And then like meeting one of the past house guests, like bumping into Curtis in passing, and them knowing you, that was weird. And it is a very strange concept because you walk in there and really nobody knows who you are, with a few exceptions. There are some influencers and people who have quite a following, so some people are known. But back when we were there, the internet was still really in its infancy stages. Social media wasn't a thing, and I remember walking in and sort of nobody knowing who I was outside of my circle friend, a group of friends in Mobile, Alabama, where I lived and grew up. And then yeah, you people know you, and they think they know you really well because they've watched you on TV or maybe even on the internet nonstop. And so it was a very strange thing where it's like it's just all of a sudden it was instantaneous. It felt, even though it wasn't. I was in that house almost 3 months, but it was a strange thing that happens. And so these house guests, I
Mm.
get it, that shell shock where they come out and they're like, what is happening? How does everybody know my name? And they know everything about me, and they think they're my best friend. It is strange because you've just been living your life normally, and you know there are cameras, and you are aware of it when you go in the diary room, but you're not aware of what shifts in the world, because nothing has changed for you other than playing Big Brother. And so you walk out, and yes, there are news things that have happened, in the world of politics and everything else, and that may be happening in the world. I mean, you think about season two, 2001, September 11th happened while they
Yep.
were in the house, and Big Brother tried to explain what it was, and I think they had some of the producing team talk to them, but they couldn't grasp it until they came out of the house, and it was such an interesting thing to even witness as a viewer. Sort of like they don't know how the world changed really while they were in there, and so it is a very strange phenomenon to come out. But I remember, because I had not you totally cut off from the outside world, and people always say, yeah, but you had your cell phones. No, we
Yeah,
we
they
had
always say
nothing.
that. I'm like,
No, you are
no.
cut off unless you want a letter. That's it. That's the only contact you're going to have. Now, in some rare cases, there have been an emergency situation that would cause them to kind of step in, the producers, a death in the family or something like that. But I mean, there have been times where things like that have happened, and house
Yeah.
guests did not know until they got out, because the family said, "Nope, we're not going to disrupt the game that our loved ones playing." Um, so I think that's a very strange phenomenon that happens in Big Brother. Um, I don't know how to equate it to anything. There really isn't anything like it, where you step into this bubble and then you emerge weeks, months later, and everyone else's life went on, but you kind of were stopped just inside this game.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. And I do remember watching movies and thinking, wow, this acting looks really, really bad, because you have no like knowledge of, you haven't watched it in 3 months. And so I think what we suspend our disbelief for when we watch TV and movies, and you see somebody acting, you don't like, you've kind of lost that while you're in there. And I just sat in a movie theater, and I remember my mom and dad going, "This is so great! Isn't this movie great?" And I was like, "They're terrible actors," and they're like, "These are Academy Award winners." And I was like, "Oh, it's just because I have," and probably while you're studying every little like micro nuance and
Of course.
micro aggression, emotion, all the things that people are emitting and emoting in that house, that you've studied behavior so intensely for 3 months, that maybe that's why I don't know. It was just so strange, and I won't name the movie.
No, yeah,
I
yeah. But it's
won't
interesting.
talk about that.
I've never heard someone say that, but like it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
you're just you come out of that experience and it's such an odd experience, and this is why I give grace to anyone who does it, because I don't think it's a normal thing. Like it's
No.
hard to adjust. And so that's interesting.
And I will say this, Sharon, I talked to a psychologist, psychiatrist. I don't know who they hire for the show. And they spoke to us before going into the house and sort of prep you. And then afterwards, you have a debrief and some time. And
Yep.
then you've got their cell number, and you can keep reaching out if you need that. Um, and I did ask going in a question that I felt like nobody had ever asked, and I thought, well, this seems logical. It was only 3 seasons in, so people have probably asked it since then.
That's
But
true.
I just said, is this like going to jail, where you're locked away for many months, and then you reemerge? And the answer was no, because this is something you choose, and you voluntarily can exit
Leave.
at any moment, because it's a social experiment, and you're a willing participant. So the takeaway was that you're empowered in this situation, not locked up and the keys thrown away.
Fair.
And I was like, okay, that was a good way of looking at it, because I didn't know how to really prepare myself mentally. And I was trying to get in that headspace going in for what I intended to be the whole time. I was planning to win that thing, and came down to the final three. It was close. Oh, so close.
I know, I know. I was talking to Danielle a little bit about it, which I obviously want to
Okay.
get into BB3 a little bit. First of all, when's the last time you've actually watched your season?
It's been years. It
Years.
came out pretty quickly after our season. Let's see, maybe a year or two after they put it out on a DVD box set, because
DVD.
streaming wasn't a thing. So it was cool
Yep.
to have the season. Um, but I've recently my kids think it's hilarious when
I was gonna
something like
say,
this
did
time of year, a clip will
yeah,
resurface and it'll be Danielle and Jason, a great duo, the Secret Alliance, and in Big Brother, and they're like, "Dad, you look so funny. Your hair, your the soul patch." I had that
yeah,
soul patch
yeah.
thing. That was
That
a
was big back
terrible
then.
fashion. I know. It's a terrible fashion decision, though. Looking back at it, that is probably one of the biggest regrets of my Big Brother stint. It's not even letting go of the key in that final
I know.
competition. It's like, wow, the fashion choices were questionable at best. They were bad.
Okay, so obviously you and Danielle known as arguably the best duo to ever play.
I mean,
You
we'll,
maybe
we'll take it. But there have been some
yeah, I
great
mean,
duos in this game.
of course, maybe at least the originators of this. And Danielle had a bit of a harder time in terms of, the perception, and you were always kind of
Yeah.
Jason's the nice guy. Jason's amazing. Jason has this great social game. Like going into the game, had you planned to just play like that? Is that just who you were? And you're like, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna just play this honest kind of game.
Yeah, I was really struggling with how I play the game and then go back into my life because I didn't separate it where, I feel like if you sit down at a poker table, you don't care how you bluff, lies are okay, whatever you do to win that hand at that card table is okay. But for me, I was like, I don't know that I can separate the game from the personal. And it's why I made a decision at a point in the game that I wasn't going to get rid of Roddy because he caught me and he was like, "Hey, if you get HOH,
Yep.
you're not going to nominate me." And then I won HOH that night, and it's like, I've got to live up to my word. And I really struggled with it because I wanted to do what I thought was best for my game at that point, but I also was really struggling with this is someone who I gave my word to in this house, and that's something that is part of who I am, and I didn't want to walk out of there and say, "Well, I was this person in the game, and that's different from who I am outside the game." And I don't know if I had it to do all over again today. I don't know how I'd play it. I'm not going back in. I'm not getting that call now
Jason.
because no. Let me just tell you, Sharon, they're not calling. They're not calling because Rachel doing this now at 40. Like kudos. I am so
Right?
impressed because at 25, it was a hard game. I remember at 35 thinking, like, I couldn't do it now. And then getting to 45 is like, nope. And then to know it wouldn't be this summer. So I'd be 49 or 50. I mean, it's just hanging on a wall, one of those challenges. It's like, I'm out in seconds. Like they start spraying you with all the junk
I
they put on
know.
those contestants. It's over. It's game over. I don't have that endurance. I've run some half marathons since then, and then I've had some injuries, and now I'm helping my kid train for a 5K, and I go a mile, a couple of miles, and I'm like I'm falling apart. So it's not happening.
Well, it's
I
not
I
all
would have to
physical,
win it
but yeah.
on a social game, and that
Well,
honestly
Jason,
though,
that's what your game is. You're a
like,
social player.
yeah, I did win some competitions. You had
You
to win
did. You did.
HOH a couple of times. I had to win some vetoes. But when it comes to the social, and Danielle, like, and I really do feel bad for Danny because she did so much of the hard work to get us to where we had convinced Marcellus not to use the veto, and then I got to
Yeah.
say the line that everybody was like, "No, you should have used the veto," and live TV like that's the moment. But it was Danny who did the legwork and really made sure that Marcellus was fully convinced that this is how it was going to go down. Amy was walking out of there that night, and so she it was tough. But I did know enough about television, and I had no idea, obviously, because you're in the diary room alone, what she was doing or saying when
Yeah.
she was in the diary room. And so now knowing I would have prepped somebody and been like, "Don't do that. Don't do the thing." And the countdown, and it was great TV, which is why the producer said, "Oh, if we want great diary rooms like Danielle gave us, if we want the great diary room sessions, we cannot let the house guests see those diary rooms."
Yep.
So they created a jury that would be sequestered, and the diary room was something that was private, only to be seen after the voting was done and everybody went home. So I mean, we changed the game in some ways with a
You
secret
did.
alliance. Danny made it possible for the diary room to be, something that would be kept out of the game, so you could say and do whatever in there. I think it is. I think it is a good thing because everybody could be honest, and I felt like I was honest in there. But I also knew people are going to judge me based on this, and it's sort of the goodbye message strategy that
Yep.
I watch on the current seasons, and when they're like, you needed to be out of here, see ya, and they'll just say something harsh. It's like, well, if you make it to the end, that may come back and hurt you. When it comes down to you and whoever you're sitting next to, they're going to remember that moment. So those goodbye messages are what the diary room was in our season,
Yes.
strategy wise. No, you are saying the nicest thing, and you were such a threat. That's why I had to get rid of you. You were going to take me down, and I couldn't do this. I couldn't beat you in competition. Like, you gotta inflate the ego in that. That is, you are selling yourself to. That is your last conversation. If you make it to the final two before the jury Q&A, say something good to that evicted house guest. Um,
Yep.
and I know that's easier said than done because emotions get into it. But sometimes house guests do things, and I was like, oh no, 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 that could cost you. And now $750,000.
Yep. Yep. Well, talking about you and Danielle, and this is so, this just reiterates everything of like, there's a reason you guys work so well together. You both gave each other the credit and the flowers that each of you deserve for your role in the alliance.
Oh.
What was it about Danielle that you guys clicked so quickly?
Well, I mean, first of all, she's hilarious and intense at the same time, and I don't know how to explain that. Where it's just
I
like
could see that.
you
Yeah.
you're crying, laughing, but you're also like, this is the focus of the game, and you're just like, whatever she says, we're gonna do. She's brilliant with gaming, and so I immediately saw that early on with a challenge and some stuff that happened early on in the night, and her observations about other players night one in that game. And so without having any kind of bond at that point. But then it was the second night we were hanging out in the hammock and talking, and I'd already been sort of drawn to her, and then we were kind of going over diary room notes, and you're not supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You'll always hear Don Woolman's voice come in, and he's like, "House
Do not
guests, do
talk
not
about
talk
production.
about production," or whatever
Yep.
Don Woolman says. Yeah. So he's one of the head guys on the show, executive producers, and we managed to get in some convo and started talking about. I said, they keep asking me if I'm in an alliance. If they're saying, do you have an alliance? Do you have an alliance? And Danny said, yeah, I keep getting that. And I said, now I've been in the diary room 2 or 3 times, and they've asked me every time. And I said, Danny, I think there are alliances forming in this house. And she's like, yeah, I do too. And I think because they've talked about it so much, like we need to get an alliance going. And so we're like, well, let's do this. And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, you've sort of bonded with one side of the house, and I've bonded with the other, and let's see what we can do to play both sides against the middle, and let's sort of keep what we're doing a secret. And I was like, that's brilliant. And so we would pretend to play cards in the
Yep.
bathroom, because you had, unless somebody was in the bathroom, you knew who was behind you. And the way the old house was set up, it's a totally different house now. But you could see someone coming down that hall, so you were in a pretty good position to not get caught. And most of the time, there was really no card game going. We would just put cards down, and if somebody would come in, I would be like, "Oh, an ace, you got it," and pretend like that was the end of the hand and could deal it. Maybe play a little bit of, war or whatever, crazy eights
Yep.
or something. And 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 so it was a great thing to game, and a good little excuse to be in there. And I don't think people thought we were strategizing like we were. And the whole time we were just sitting there, just putting cards down, pretending to play a game, and talking through, okay, here's what's happening. Here's what the people I'm aligned with think they want to do. And Danny goes, well, this is going to hurt this person who is on our side. And here's how we, and so there were weeks where we really shook up the house. And then Danny would always throw in these votes where she would go against what it seemed like everybody in the house was going to do, just to throw this mystery in there, and she'd get busted, and people would have a really good idea even if she'd say it wasn't her, and they're like, we know it's you. But it was always good to stir up the drama. And it just kept things going, and I think kept the spotlight off of us, which is why
Mm-hmm.
in some seasons people let someone like Dick Donato get as far as he goes, because yes, he's playing a really good game, but he's also someone that they go, oh, he's deflecting a lot of attention off me, my
Yeah.
alliance partner, all of these other people, and then you wake up and you go, oh, he just won the game, like he just did that. So there is this fine point in the game, and I haven't figured it out. If I did, it'd be go in there and do this, and here's your strategy. But you have to watch it, and the players who end up winning it, it seems like they figure out at that right moment how to take out the people who are going to be their biggest threats, but they've used them as a shield
Yep.
until they don't need them anymore. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
is the most interesting thing to watch season after season. Is like, when is that right time to cut this player who, and there are times that you cut these players early just because you can't live with them. The house is so stressful with the games and the competitions, and when Big Brother is messing with you and not letting you sleep, or you're on slop, or any of these other things. And for us, our season, it was PB and J. So I think slop is way worse from what I hear. But PB and J, if you eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and
No,
dinner,
thank
like
you.
yeah, your mouth doesn't even water anymore, so you can't
Ugh.
even like get it down. So eventually, like by the last couple of days, I just remember I was like, I don't know, I haven't eaten in a couple of days, because Thursday after the show, well, it's over. We can eat again. Um, or you might be able to get some jelly down, but you couldn't even stomach the peanut butter. So I don't know. It's just those weeks when you're a have-not are really, really hard. And if you've got a player in there really grating on everybody's nerves, their
Yeah.
voice or their actions resemble fingernails on a chalkboard, then that's the week we're like, we're getting them. They've got to go. We got to do it this week. And
Yep.
on a season like 27, because you have the BB Blockbuster, is that what it's called, the new
Yep.
AI arena name? That really does, I think, lead to a scenario where the gameplay where you go, oh, we're going to keep this person here for so long, and then we're going to get rid of them when it's time, and we don't need them to be the target, and take the bullseye off us. I think that is a dangerous move now, because that's the
Yep.
person who can go right into the BB Blockbuster arena, stage, platform, whatever it is.
Whatever. Yep.
Yeah, whatever that comp looks like, to go in for the BB Blockbuster and then save themselves. And I think it's going to help a contestant like Rachel this summer, because she will have a path forward if she's nominated right away to get herself into a good position if she can win that competition and save herself. I don't know how last night shook out, because I go to bed so early. So I haven't watched. I got in and we got on this thing here today, Sharon. So
Oh.
you can give me spoilers. I don't care. I mean, anything you want to say that you've seen on the live feeds, but like I said, I checked and everybody was sleeping.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all I
listen,
saw.
Rachel's found herself, like, no one's saying Rachel's name. I mean, I think she's
That's
obviously
huge.
safe. She's safe for this week anyway. You didn't watch
Okay.
last night's episode?
No, I didn't see Sunday night.
So they basically said, like, well, we don't have a bed for you, so now you're a have not, but in return you'll be safe for the first week. And then same thing
Okay.
with three other have nots are safe. I forget.
Okay.
I think it's like Ava, Will, and someone else.
Okay.
Um, but
And the
yeah.
big thing that I want to know is who that potential saboteur is. Did we get the reveal of
Oh,
that on Sunday
we
night?
did, and BB Twitter was right. It was Amy.
Oh, it's Amy. That is, I don't know. I was suspicious of Morgan for some reason. So Amy, Amy was the second person that we were talking about. Yeah, there was something suspicious
She had
about
a
Amy.
button.
Okay.
She had a button in
Mm,
her front jeans
yes.
pocket that you could see.
Okay. Yeah. That was the thing Hannah mentioned. She said there was something she had in a pocket, and so we were suspicious of Amy, but I didn't know why. Okay, so Morgan is just super smart, super on it, because when Morgan jumped in with what everybody was like, wait, what's the deal? And Morgan knew the rules and what had been
Oh
told
yeah.
about how the saboteur was there. I was like, wait. and I told Hannah, I said, either Morgan is super smart, which I do believe Morgan is a Twitch streamer, gamer,
Yep.
really paying attention in those, like, it's like your reaction time is super sharp when you game all the time like that. It's it's so much faster than my reaction time where I'm like, wait, what just happened? Let's back it up. And
Same.
so I
Same.
yeah, so I think that that's what I saw in Morgan and why I was suspicious. So now I'm really excited for Morgan as a player because I think we've got a really sharp gamer in Morgan, and kudos to Morgan there. I cannot wait. And then I really like Ashley. That was another
Me
pick for
too.
this season. Just very
There there's some
likable.
there's some drama though, Jason. You got to watch last
Oh,
night.
Ashley drama. Okay. Oh,
She
okay.
took too long of a shower.
Oh, oh,
That
yeah.
was
That
like
doesn't play well.
yeah, they really crucified her for it. Jesus.
Okay,
But
well,
yeah,
let me just say this. You have to remember you have all these roommates, and this is a huge cast. So
yep.
17 people, in that house at that point, and it is, any little thing that could get you on the nomination block. And so I think you just have to be very considerate about those things. It's like, yeah, I will wash the dishes that I make, even if or maybe I'll clean somebody else's if they're piling up in
Yep.
the sink. You don't do the things that maybe you would be comfortable doing at home where you leave clothes laying out or make a mess. It's like, no, keep all of your stuff in your space. Don't mess with other people's things. Don't take 45-minute showers. I mean, I'm trying to teach my kids that there. I was like, guys, I know we have a gas hot water heater, but like there's going to be no hot water. And also our water bill, like I've
Yep.
become my father where I was like, do you know how expensive the water bill is going to be? Now in the Big Brother house, like did the hot water run out? Because I know
No,
they can
but
turn it on off for the cold showers, right?
true. But no,
Yeah.
she had asked the HOH to take a shower, Vince, in his shower. Took an hour and a half apparently, and he hadn't even showered yet, and he wanted to go to sleep. And she's still up there, and it was a whole thing.
Oh no.
And she ended up
Oh
getting nominated for it. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
I was really high on Ashley. I still am actually. Her and
okay.
Rachel, I think, are like this. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, and I think if Ashley will listen to Rachel, and Ashley's smart, she's an
Yeah,
attorney. She's going to figure it out. I think she just was in her mode of creature comforts and just like, I need this. I need an hour and a half away from everybody. I'm going to take this time. I get it. There have been times that in that Big Brother house, you get away for a little bit and you hide somewhere. I don't. There are times it's like I didn't even need to go to the bathroom, but I would just go sit in there for 5 minutes just to have that moment because it's
I get
packed
it.
when you first
Yeah,
move in and you need a little bit of space just to be with your thoughts and have some alone time. And so I get it for her, but this will be a really good learning lesson week one. And I think it it will show the trajectory of her game if she learns from this and all the other moves she makes. She takes into account how this plays for the house, how the other house guests are going to react to it. Otherwise, if you're just like, well, it's all about me, then it won't be a long game,
yeah. I
in
think
my
she'll
opinion.
recover. I
Yeah,
think
I
she'll
do too.
recover.
And I think if she's got Rachel there saying, hey, this was a misstep, but this is not one where you betrayed an alliance, you made everybody, it was just,
Right.
it's a shower. This is a long game. When you're talking months, people will forget about that. I
Yes.
mean, Julie will bring it up on finale night and they will roll that beautiful bean footage. It'll, be a hilarious moment after the voting's done and we haven't had the winner reveal. But it's
Yes.
certainly, it's certainly something that you can recover from in the length of the time. Even just a week is such a long time in that Big Brother house, especially early on. And then and I've talked to different contestants about it. It was the day 50 to day 59 where it just felt like every day it was like, it
Slog.
are we in day 60? And everyone's like, nope, still day 50. And you're like, it's not even day 51. Nope. Still. And you're just like day 53. It feels like it's been 7 weeks. And that stretch of 9-10 days just took forever. And I don't even know where that was in the game. I'll have to go back and look. But I just remember like every day, it felt like I was in Castaway, where he's looking at Wilson and he's like etching on the cave wall, like how
Like you
many days
lost
he's,
it.
yeah. Like I was fully gone, and then stayed there till day 80 something, with final three, because our season was about 83,
80,
85 days, something,
I
88.
think it
I
was
don't know.
83, something around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I
Which is
was,
what this season
yeah.
will be, I think.
Okay. Yeah, the 100-day season just felt like, even for viewers, I think
It was too
it was a
much.
long stretch, because we're so invested in the live feeds. And then I just remember it was like Halloween had come and gone, and we were still in Big
It's
Brother.
like
I was like,
Thanksgiving. I'm like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like,
Christmas.
are they gonna make it home in time to have Thanksgiving?
Wait, Jason, I do want to really quick ask you about
Yeah,
Rachel because, I'm friends with Rachel as well. I was
yeah.
texting her a bit. All of a sudden, her text started looking weird. And I'm like,
Hmm.
who's
Oh, I know.
texting me? Did you have
I
that
know.
experience?
Yes, but I also know there have been times where it's like it takes a little while to hear back from her,
Of
or
course.
it's like, oh my gosh, I've been in this thing with school, or this thing that she was doing. She's like live streaming stuff and selling things, and she's on a reality show. And I knew,
She's
and we were
busy.
doing
Yeah.
podcasting where it was like, I did at some point, get this text, and she was like, hey, like, we were chatting about something unrelated to that, and she was like, and also I'm gonna vanish for like 4 or 6 weeks. And I was like, wait, what? And she was like, I can't talk about it, but just like, I'm gonna be gone. It's something cool. You'll learn about it, when I can tell you about it. And that was when she was out shooting Traders. And then so
Got
when
it.
it started getting released and the cast came out, and she was like, it was amazing. We're on the Scottish Highlands, and it's going to be the best show ever, and all these things. And then look at the success of Traders. And so it did seem odd, but I was just like, she's busy. Last summer she was super busy. It's like there are
She's
times when
filming
people,
shows all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, I get it. And Hannah, in this one group thread with Rachel, and Hannah and I were talking, and Hannah just kept going. She's like, I know you're going to be in that Big Brother house. We're going to see you walk in there. And then right before the show, I was like, let's see if we hear from Rachel. And, we got the cast is fire or something, and some emojis.
I
And I
got
was
the
like,
same thing like a half
okay.
hour
So,
before the show.
yeah, yeah. So that was what everybody was getting while we're texting her, to be
It's
like,
hilarious.
Rachel, are you around? And then Hannah was like, you are about to walk into that Big Brother house. And so then we get into the episode, we're in it, and then whatever it was, 45 minutes into the show, and then it's like, oh my, I'm there. And then Hannah was firing off. She was like, I knew it. Whoever this is texting us. And so we didn't know if somebody from the show, a producer, had her phone and was doing that, or if it was her husband Brendan. And then after the fact, Brendan revealed he had been the mystery texter, and he was like, hey, I'll be around this summer. We'll I'll come on the podcast. We'll talk a little bit about it. And he's like, I'm so sorry. We're like, no, this is what you had to do.
They did a
It was
great
good.
job.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Hannah was skeptical. She was not buying it, but I was like, okay, like, I'm getting texts. It's probably Rachel. It's like,
I
it's
mean,
like,
even it didn't leak super early at least.
I'm pretty trusting. I think this goes to say.
It's okay, Jason. Yeah. Wait, so okay, going back to you and Danielle a little bit, because I feel like people know the answer to this, but also might be curious.
Okay.
Was there a point during the game where you ever thought, okay, Danielle's not on my, or Danielle might flip on me at some point?
I didn't. My parents back at home were so nervous. They were like,
Were they?
we believe that she's being real and what she's saying is truthful, and that she really will, take Jason. If she wins that final HOH, she would take Jason, even though she may lose it. And so they really were struggling with that. But I had no question in my mind. It was like we had built this bond, and I had this level of trust.
Yep.
Again, probably the same level of trust that I put in Rachel, believing she was not going into the Big Brother house. So I don't know. I could have got there the same place in the game had Danny won it. But I think Danny knew that if she wasn't going to win it, it was who did she want to see
Of
win the game,
course.
and that would have been a huge success, that we took this team and we went all the way. And the thing that really hurt me in the final competition,
Yeah.
and really where I lost the game, is I didn't understand that people were proud that I had been playing the game, and they were excited for me, and they still liked me. I was like, I had a great relationship with everybody in the house. They're going to get out and they're going to see what I was up to. And they had no idea that I was playing the game. And they're like, oh, this is sweet little baby Jay. And he was just in there along for the ride and somehow skated to the end. And then they're like, oh, shoot, he and Danny were doing this and they did that and they made sure this happened and that's why this vote went down and it didn't go the way that they were trying to get Lisa out and then it turned out it was Eric and it was like that's how the vote changed and that's why Jason did that. And so I thought they were going to hate me. And they were
Mm.
like, they were so excited. They were like, he's been playing this game. And it was like this great thing that they thought was like kind of thrilling, like what a surprise. And then they were rooting for me essentially. And I didn't see it. So it's like, what do you think Kiara would have said about this move or that move? And I was like, gotta be the answer where she is so mad and hurt or whatever the thing was. And I was like, nope. And that was wrong. And it was
Mm.
Kiara was excited. And then this person, and I should have a few questions in started going, oh, there's a pattern forming. Nobody's upset. They seem to be, and then adjust. But in that moment, and that's where those competitions really get you. You're in your head, and things are happening so fast. And I mean, you think about how many times Julie has to say, "House guest, reset, reset." Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're hyper focused on one thing, and you're missing all the other things. And it's live TV, and I remember we had moved a set piece in, and I dropped it on my toe. My toenail fell off. Like I was in
Oh.
pain. Like I had, like all of these extenuating circumstances that you don't know about, in there where you're just like, I just wasn't focused like I needed to be in that moment to go, wait, okay, this person doesn't hate me. Okay,
Mm.
maybe I need to change my strategy because I'm missing the first two or three questions where I think everybody's upset. Now I see they're happy for me. They like that I'm playing the game. Wait. And then Lisa she picked up on it and just rode it and just crushed me in that competition. And then she said, who am I going to take? Well, even just looking at that game alone, all the answers from our house guests, it said
Fair.
they were proud of me. They liked me. They thought I was playing a good game. So then it's like Lisa's got to make the decision she makes. That it's like looking at the two of us, who maybe am I going to win against, and not really even understanding the diary room impact on the jury. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I
and it
think,
was major from
yeah,
Danny's diary rooms. But I mean, it was great TV. It was such good
it
TV,
was
which
so
is
good
why
TV.
they changed the game. So we had the veto introduced our season that changed the game, and then season 4, the diary
Sequester.
room was not shown to the house guests. The jury was the final whatever, an odd number of contestants, and so they were
Yeah.
sequestered. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
so
and I
they
will
all,
say this about our season that gets a lot of questions is people always ask like, um, why did you not keep Amy over Lisa?
yeah.
And and I think the thing that it would have been a Jag outcome potentially where a house guest
Mm.
who Jag never left, like Amy was gone from the game for a period of weeks and then got to win a competition and come back in. And even in that competition, I was like, hey, Amy, I'm going to give this to you. Just, you're going to win HOH. It's going to give you a week of safety. Come back into the game. Just don't nominate me. Okay. We made it look good ish. And then Amy was talking to everybody. He's like, I think I'm going to nominate Jason. And so then it's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. We
Yeah.
let her back in. And then this is almost happening. And then if Amy, who had been like, she had weeks in Mexico, got her hair braided, like living on a beach, in the sequester location, like vacation from the Big Brother house to come back in
How dare she?
recharged and fired up. And then I'm like, she's going to crush us in this competition. We are spent. And she's rejuvenated and rested up and, been eating like steaks, drinking fine wine and having caviar and shrimp cocktail. And so I was like, okay, I don't think we're going to beat her. And she was always able to win these competitions, like when she needed to win it. And I was like, Amy's going to go to the end. And I don't know if she's going to pick me. I don't know if she's going to take Danielle, but Danny and I had to just look at it and we're like,
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to beat Lisa. I don't know if we're going to beat Amy, but let's see, let's try our best. And, Lisa won the first HOH, but then she remained relatively low key and she won some things here and there. Like
Yeah.
we all did to make it that far. But I don't think we really knew how well she was going to do with those competitions at the end. And an endurance competition she won, then she won a mental comp, and it was just game over for me.
Yeah, I think I asked Danielle the same thing and she had a similar answer. Like
Yeah.
I know people pinpoint that moment. But I also
Oh,
wanted,
that was
yeah,
like the most like
I'm sure that's the
the
question you got the
most
most.
confronted thing that I had to deal with from not only fans but like everybody in my life. They're like, "Why did you get rid? Amy loved you. She would have taken you." It's like I know, but you don't understand. Like if I lost, yeah, because they would have loved Amy, and the jury might have given her the game if it had been the two of us. I don't know. I don't know.
I was gonna
And
say,
maybe
do
it would have
you?
been a final two, Amy and Jason, had she won. Maybe she would have taken me, but I think she would have taken Danny. She loved, 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 loved Danny.
Yeah, I think that's tough to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you play this what if game? Because you talked
No.
about the
I
final
mean, I will
HOH
with
and
you, but I don't. It doesn't keep me up at night. It was
yeah,
just. It was so like when you come out and everybody goes, "This is where your game went sideways." It's like, no, I let go of the key,
right,
and
right,
strike one, and then I lost that comp. Like that was on me. If I had won one or and then the second round, both of those things, I could have gone on, and then it's in my own hands. It doesn't matter what happens. And so for the BB Blockbuster, formerly known as the AI Arena, that is such an important thing because you can control your own destiny, and you don't have to play the what if game
right,
of
right.
woulda, coulda, shoulda. But it's also the reason why if you win the golden power of veto, use it on yourself. Don't
Let's hope
don't
people.
just
Yeah,
think that everybody is telling you you're safe because that is we know in Big Brother history how many times those people go home.
yeah. Just I wanted to touch on the key thing because I know
Yeah,
Danielle carries a little bit of guilt about it. Do you ever think about that and what if? Because everyone's like, well, Lisa would have taken Danielle anyway, so did it
yeah,
really matter and all that? I don't know.
yeah. I do think if it was always going to be if Lisa won the final HOH, she was taking Danielle because I think she
Right.
felt like she had a better chance of beating Danielle. And I also think it was something really cool that it was like this is the final two. It's two women there. Like that was something that we had not seen yet on Big Brother. So I think that was something, and Lisa was the first female winner of the show. And so I think that there were some things like that went into her decision where it's like, hey, if it's not me, we have a woman winning this game. And Danielle was closer to Lisa, but I think Lisa made the right calculation in that
Yeah.
she was going to win that game. And I mean, really, I was the only vote for Danielle. So it was minus one vote. She won it. It was not even close. But I don't play that game of the what if or any of that. And it's a whole lot easier now looking back at it. I mean, the show's been on 25 years, so my summer was 23 years ago. Sharon, it's so much easier to look back now and go, oh my gosh, I have this great career. And
Yeah.
because I went on the show, it all happened. I
Yep.
think had I won it, I would have been in a position to be like, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to play around and have some fun. And then in 2 or 3 years' time, like you can blow through a lot of money because once taxes come into it, and then it's like, okay, well, now you've paid a third or 40% to the government.
Yep.
And then, you like, I'm going to do something really nice for my parents. And then it's like, and then you take your cast out and you're like a baller out in LA when it's after the rap party. And then you spend some thousands and then,
We've seen
you've
it
got, so
happen.
yeah. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh, wow. And maybe not even years later, you've got nothing to show for it. And so it's like, after that, I said, I love LA. And I had a Big Brother executive producer say, hey, I'll hire you to do some casting. And got into that game very quickly because I had done TV production before. And so we were finding contestants like the craziest casting job that you could ever imagine. I went to Missouri and spent a winter there. Like right after a blizzard hit, we landed. The plane that landed before us skid off the runway and they had to emergency
Oh
evac
my
people.
God.
And so then we land and we're like, what's all that? And they were like, oh, that plane that landed like 3 minutes ago just skid off the runway. And we're like, oh my gosh. And like we were in whiteout conditions driving to this Amish community. And we were going to find kids who were in Rumspringa, which is kind of this time where
Wow.
they decide if they're going to be Amish and go back and live in the community and follow the ways of the Amish, or they're going to go out into the world, the English world, as they call it. And we were looking for kids to be on Amish in the city. It was on UPN. And so I did that job. And it was like 3 months. We
Wow.
lived in a bed and breakfast right outside Amish country. The coolest experience, like the most appreciation for people who put their faith so much into the forefront. And it's like it almost makes me emotional just to go, it's not something that I do.
Yep.
It's like cool. It's not for me, but it was a really amazing thing to see people and their faith. and I have such a huge respect for the Amish. I mean, we got in trouble. Like we had elders like call us in and they were like, didn't want us talking to the young people and all these things, but we kind of hung out at a bar where the Amish, the horse and buggy carriages would come up to this bar
Stop.
in Missouri. And yeah, and we found it. And so like, Mose Gingrich, who went on to be part of like these other reality shows, like we found him there, and
Wow.
it was neat. And so then from there, did some John was part of the casting team for some other shows that I did, and I mean even some shows that never made air. Like we found we found a
That
cast for
happens.
these shows. Yeah, I mean the coolest show ever. It would be so good now, but it just didn't get picked up. And then did Amazing Race and all these things. And then one of
Hmm.
the casting producers for CBS, her husband works in TV news, and he has been out in LA since before I was on Big Brother and is still there today. And so she's like, you'd be really good at what he does, and sort of helped open the door and kind of moved me in that direction. And so that opened a door to a job as a TV traffic reporter. And then I became a morning show reporter, and then a fill-in anchor, and then became an anchor, and then made the move to a big market like Orlando. And it came here, and
Amazing.
we were market number 20 in size, and now we're 15 just because we keep growing, growing, growing. And so it's New York's number one, then LA, Chicago, blah, blah,
Of
blah, blah, and then
course.
we're 15. And so it's been a career, that has been so good. And it's had I not done and said yes to Big Brother, that wouldn't have happened. Had I won it, I probably wouldn't have been looking for a job and a way to stay out in LA. So I wouldn't have gone on that. That wouldn't have opened the door for where I am now. I wouldn't have, had this thing and that thing, my kids, my wife, all of that. So
Everything. Yeah.
yeah, I am very grateful for this journey that it put me on. And it was quite a journey, but I did win. I just didn't win right there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I,
Yeah.
I agree,
No,
Jason.
Sharon,
Oh, don't.
you're doing like the Oprah moment here. No, it really is. It's been a bigger and better and more amazing, experience because of what, the doors that opened, because of what happened as a result of Big Brother. The game was easy to put aside and forget about. And it is fun, when we all get together to go like, oh, what if this had happened? But it's like that didn't change the trajectory of my life, winning it or losing it. It was the experience, and then what happened with it afterwards.
Yeah.
And you look at some of these some of these Big Brother contestants now, because social media is a thing, like they are huge influencers, and it's like kudos, like you guys are crushing it. I'm not I'm not some beauty or fashion influencer. Hey guys, welcome to my channel.
I always
my
say, like, props
my
to those people.
unboxing, here we go. Yeah. No, I'm like, I've got a kid who's like I'm like, oh man, are you going to end up on a reality show one day to like,
I was gonna
so the
say,
masses know who you are?
would
No,
you
I
let
don't
your
want I
kids?
don't want my kids. No, no. As someone who would find people for a reality show, no. But I mean, if they were like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to let them go. I will like have that sit down conversation of, as your father, like
Yeah, of
these are the
course.
things I do not want to see my child do on a reality show. And it's like, I come from a really good conservative Christian background, and so it was like I remember like sitting on a bed, and like I think Kiara sat there, and it was like I'd been like
Oh,
laying down, and I remember like I sat up and I put my foot on the floor, like that was like like the thing you have to do. Like that camera's gonna
yes.
see the like I had a foot on the floor, like
Yep.
I mean like I don't know. So nowadays though, like some of the storylines that have happened there, it's like like your mom and dad may be watching this, like your grandparents could see this, and
I don't know how
like
people go on Love Island. It's
yeah,
quite the
yeah,
show.
right. Oh, I know. And this, I mean, it is having a real summer between BB 27 and Love Island. Like everybody's talking about Love Island, and it's
Yep.
like yeah, everybody can see everything you do. This is not like when I was a teenager, young adult in my 20s, and living in LA. It's like we had a camera on our cell phone. After Big Brother, I think we won some cell phones, and we had like a year of service. It was like a T-Mobile thing, and it could take a picture. But I mean, if I
The
find a picture
pictures
there
were,
today,
yeah.
yeah, you couldn't even tell who any of the people were in that picture, and especially if there was low light or anything like that, it's just a grainy mess. Now AI will probably be able to enhance that one day, but yeah, like there's no proof of it all. But you go on Love Island, like it's documented. It's going to be streaming forever in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So I
I'm happy I didn't grow up with social media in that way.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Same.
Well, I won't keep, I have a couple more questions. Of
Yeah, go for it.
course,
Go for it.
the big one is I know you said you wouldn't do Big Brother again, but well, first of all, you were
Well,
close to going on.
I don't know. Like, let me say this. Maybe at some
Yes.
point I'm retired. Like, if they'll take a 65-year-old and I'm like, I say I've got to play a good social game, but like to be the really old guy, like I am in getting close to the age that Jerry was on my season at Big Brother, where everybody's like, this old
Not
guy.
that
It's
close,
like
Jason. Come on.
wasn't he was in his 50s. He was in his 50s. I'm
Was he?
48. So it's tough to say, but maybe then, where I didn't have the constraints and the pressures that I do now. But I got to be at work. I
I
took off
know
for the
you do
first
have a
time in
job.
15 years, 2 weeks off, to go to Ireland, and this was like the most amazing trip that we've ever planned. Kudos to my wife for like planning breakfast, lunch, dinner, activities in the middle. Like, we got about 6 days into it or something, and I was like, babe, I just like we got to cancel this morning. Whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I just need to like lay in the hotel room. I gotta chill. Um, but it was so amazing, and my mother-in-law has family there. She was born in Dublin. She immigrated at 9, so we went back and we saw this house that she lived in from 0 to 6 months, and then the house that she lived in, until they immigrated, basically. And her cousins own that property now. Like, her family just passed it down, and they're there, and they, on this land, built the guy, her cousin, built a house for his sister to live in, and there's another house where another cousin lives in, or a cousin's daughter and husband, and so it was this family experience to sort of connect with that side, and yes, through marriage, but it's like it was amazing. And then, after doing one of those DNA tests, I am more Irish than my wife is, whose
Oh
mother
wow.
is 100% born in Dublin, all Irish. So yeah, so my wife's got some Italian there, that like messes it up. But I'm like 85% Irish, the rest European in there.
Wow.
So it was like, I'm back. I'm back where I'm supposed to be, and
It's
having
so
a
weird.
Guinness and having
I
Irish coffee every day is not a
yeah.
thing that you should do for 2 weeks. But it's like
It's
when in Ireland.
It's weird that you said that because I just got back from the same
Yeah,
trip. I went with my mom. We were in graveyards and shit, like
yeah.
looking up
Oh yeah.
ancestors. So it's so interesting, but it was so fun. But you're right, it's
Well, we did.
exhausting.
We visited a church where my mother-in-law's parents got married. We were at like
Okay.
3 different grave sites, and it
Same.
was it was so it was so moving. And I know we're laughing about it right now, but it was like my mother-in-law's crying, my wife's in tears, I'm all
Yeah.
moved, and
It's wild.
thankfully one of the family members had his nice professional camera. He's just a hobbyist, but took all these pictures, and I was like, I don't even like remember all of the day, but it was fun to see the pictures, because it was like I was just listening to stories. And one of the cousins had like a binder he made, and it was like pictures and stories and family history. And then we would go to this place, and he had a full itinerary from like 9 or 10 that morning until 6 o'clock that night. And then we got to visit my mother-in-law's aunt, who's still alive. So at 94, her mother's sister, she got to spend time with, and she was like, it is like being like they are almost a spitting image. She was like, it was just like sitting there with my mother.
Wow.
And so yeah, it was just this moving day where you just like thinking back on it, it was like it was life changing, and so fun too. Like, don't get me wrong, like on my birthday we were at the Guinness factory and we did all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like, I got to turn 48 in Ireland.
That's
And so
awesome.
no, it was amazing. So if you can plan it, do it. I like, it's the trip that we're like, oh, it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. It took me 47, almost 48 years to get there. And now I'm like, to my wife, when can we go back? And
Honestly.
it it was amazing. Did you do Cliffs of Moher? What
We
did you do,
did.
Sharon?
We
Okay.
did.
Like,
We
that
were
was, I
all
can't
over.
even I can't even just describe, like, when you walk up there, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's from the Harry Potter movie. That's the cave,
Game of
Voldemort's cave, but
Thrones.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, Game of Thrones, all this stuff, but also just, yeah, wow,
Stunning.
like, I can't imagine, yeah, this beauty. And the grass there it's greener, and the landscape is so lush and beautiful. Yeah, I was like, the pictures do not do it justice. I was
No.
blown away. Hmm.
The
Yeah,
pictures didn't do justice. Nicest people, Irish people over there.
yeah,
Oh my God. Nicest people.
yeah. And then we had,
Amazing.
I mean, fish and chips, I think I ate every single day.
Yeah.
And and I did not feel like if I were to eat French fries every day for a
Here,
week straight here in Orlando, like I would feel like garbage. And for some reason, I don't know how they cook it or what they do, or if there's something different in the potatoes or the batter but I didn't feel horrible. And I did not get on a scale when we got home. Like I'm not crazy,
me
but
either.
but
No thanks.
um, I didn't feel like I would feel just after a couple of days of eating fried food. Like, I'll go visit my family and we'll go to a seafood place and it's like everything's fried. And then a couple of days, just a weekend, I'm like, I can't eat another piece of fried food. And that's all I lived on: fried
It's
fish and
different
French
over there.
fries.
It's
Yeah,
different, I'm telling you.
yeah, yep.
But the moral of the story, one, is
Go to Ireland.
beautiful experience, totally. And also you're busy. You don't take a lot of vacations. And so
Yeah,
doing a
no,
reality TV show isn't necessarily like,
yeah. Let me
top
carve
of
out
list.
83 days, 85 days. Yeah, no. And then on the front end, I don't know. You could speak to this, and I'll ask Rachel when the summer's over. But uh, the probably the COVID protocols are still in place. So you have a 2 week, I would guess, or 10 days before you move into the house, just to make sure that nobody has that. I mean, that's still a
Yeah.
thing. That was just back in 2020. And didn't Julie got COVID last summer?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was actually there when the night that she got COVID was the night I was at the eviction. So
You got
Miss
to
Jerry
see
O'Connell.
Jerry. Jerry.
Yes.
Oh, I love
Um,
Jerry. Everybody was like a little hard on him, so it's like,
they
oh,
were.
geez, wow. If Julie ever leaves, like whoever
What's
goes
up?
in, and yeah, like
Jason, you could do it. I
I
didn't
mean,
see it.
no, you're very nice, but I think I would be more goofy like Jerry, and they didn't like that. They want like like the
Uh,
very
Chenbot.
dramatic Chenbot. Yeah, I was gonna say Chenbot, but she embraces it. Yeah,
She loves
the
it. I love
Chenbot.
that
Yeah,
about Julie. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
No, she's the perfect host for BBUS, like for
she's
sure.
great.
And every country's version is a little bit different, and that's why it works here. I mean, our season one, we tried to be the British version, and then or the UK version, and then it changed and sort of morphed into what it became by seasons 4 or 5. And then it's like, okay, now we've figured it out, and then
Yeah.
it's cooking in the current seasons, because the twists are the hardest thing right now. For Rachel walking in, it's like you don't even know what you don't know, because the twists this summer are going to be wild.
Yep. Yep. We haven't even scratched the surface.
Mm-mm, no.
What can you tell me? Were you almost on All Stars?
Yeah, I mean, there was a little story to that. I did get they reached out to me, and that was right when I had moved into TV news, and I was like, I'm starting a career, like this might be like the trajectory, or do Big Brother again. And I was like, I had a really good run. What if I go in there with, I don't know, somebody who is like, they don't like me. They're just like, this guy's fake. We're not buying it or something. I don't know. And then they turn the house and I'm gone week 1 or 2. And it's like this
It's like then you just
great
wasted.
game I played. Yeah. Yeah. And then you tank out after the last couple, this all-star season. And like, whoa, that guy was a waste of a space, and calling him an all-star. And so I was a little nervous about that. And like, that is the thing. It's like, I mean, like Tom Brady came to a Florida team, and then they won the championship, and you're like, whew, because like this could have gone in any way. But then like a couple of seasons, and it didn't have great luck, and then it's just like he didn't have his guy by his side, and then it was like, okay, now I'm going to retire, and it's like, I don't know, I played a great game. It was an awesome season. You can never go back. So that was kind of my thought, but it was that I was in TV news, and I was maybe a year in, and it was about the time that it was like, I'm getting some opportunities to report. I'm getting some anchor fill-in opportunities. Like maybe I'm going to make a thing of this. And so, and maybe I had connected with an agent, and it took a little while to find the next thing. And so, I had a news agent, and then it's like, I want to stay where, in this trajectory, because it does have the potential to be something that's a career, where if I put it on hold again, then I'm gonna have to start it all over. And I will say, going into TV news at the beginning, it was like, don't talk about that on TV, don't talk about that on social media,
Mm,
don't talk. Yeah, and so I did kind of tamp it down at that time. Now it's sort of like that's part of who you are, and the social media thing has been embraced. So
yeah.
that's part of my job, is to do
Like your
something on
brand.
social media, to make posts, and yeah, and to let people know who you are and what you like and what you do. And it is funny. I posted a picture just last week, and this I took it, in May or June, but I just posted it last week. I was like, I'm going to wait till Big Brother starts, and I meant to post it beforehand because I was like, what if Frankie's this mystery person? So
Oh,
I met Frankie Grande,
I saw, yeah.
you know, uh, and. We were at Epic Universe, and it was like the Saturday as pass holders. We had bought tickets for our family. We're running around. So my daughter, who is now 13, she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's Ariana's brother. Oh, is that right?" And then I took a picture
You're
with
like,
him,
wait, we
and
have a
then
connection.
I know, and we chatted up for a split second. He was super nice, and then some other people came up, and then we walk away, and I was like, Grace, I didn't even get a picture of you with Frank. I was like, oh my gosh, what a
Oh,
terrible dad. Like, and she was like, it's
no.
fine. She was just in awe. But I say all that. I posted this picture. It's a month old or whatever, and somebody was like, I I watch you on the news every day. I've been watching you for years, and you were on Big Brother. Like, I got to go back and watch. It's like
Yeah,
didn't make the connection, and so it feels like every week, every month,
that's
somebody
fun.
goes either, oh, I watch Big Brother and I live in Orlando, and you're my news guy, and they make that connection, or it's the other way around where they're like, I had no idea, and now I saw something on social media or wherever. So it is, it's
I gotta
wild.
ask my parents. My parents live in like the Vero Beach area, so
Oh
they
yeah,
might catch
yeah,
some of your
they're our
news.
audience.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they better be Wesh watchers. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask. They'll probably be like, "Wait, why are you interviewing Jason?" But what about the traders, Jason?
Oh,
Especially after
I
Danielle
love.
did it. Come on,
I know. I do love traders. It's so fun. I
it's
mean,
quick.
come on. Yeah, it really is. I feel like it was a 4 or 6 week shoot schedule. People don't have to vanish for too long. Like, I know it's too long for me to take off. Now, that being said, let's say in between, like if I were moving somewhere, and like I could take this little like gap in between, like starting something, I'm not going anywhere. I got a contract here. I'm good to go. We love Orlando, and like our kids are here. Like I couldn't move kids in
Yeah,
high school. Come on, I'm not doing that. But maybe in a gap time, that could be a really fun one, for sure. I mean, that show is amazing, but like again, it is intense. And also, how many suitcases do they allow? Because everybody has like the wardrobe of wardrobes. Like in Big Brother, I was like a couple pair of jeans, a few t-shirts. I'm gonna be doing laundry in the backyard, like whatever. It's the summer, we'll be in a bathing suit. I don't know how I would pack for that, because I mean, people come out and they've got to match Alan, your host here, Alan Cumming. But you also, like, I mean, you have people from royalty, you have Real Housewives, like they are dressed to impress. And I don't have any of that in my wardrobe. I would have to bring all my like news anchor stuff, and
I
I
was
would be
gonna
in suits.
say
Yeah, no, I
you'll
mean, I
be
dress in
fine.
suits and ties. I was like, but I get to carry what is, this closet of suits. Like, how do they get there? How do they fly there with all of that?
I don't know, but don't worry. You have a couple of friends you can call. Rachel,
Okay. Yeah.
Danielle. They could.
Yeah. I
Uh,
know. Well, and that was like Danny would pop out, and I was like, "What is she wearing now?"
she
Oh
looked
my goodness! And Rachel,
amazing.
yeah, I know. And Danny has been on this always a health journey. Like when we were in the Big
Yeah.
Brother house, she ran the backyard exercise class. She did this ab class. You would hurt, but it was like the only time in life that I got sort of close to abs. And then now I'm eating fish and chips every day in Ireland. Like there's no chance that that's happening. Um, so yeah, but yeah, Danny looked amazing. Like, but her like health journey though, I feel like in the last couple of years, like she's like, I'm gonna
She
look
looks
better at
amazing.
40 and 50. Yeah, it's like at 40 she looked better than she did in her 30s. At 50 she looked better than in her 40s. And it's like, Danny, how in the world are you a grandma? Like, you look healthier, younger, better than than like all of us. It's amazing.
I know, I know. Well, Jason,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it out there. I think we
Okay.
would all like to see you back on TV at some point,
Okay.
not just news anchoring,
I mean,
but we like
yeah.
you there too.
Well, let's put this out there. Tell like the Today Show to come calling, right? Like then we can all get what we want. Like, you can see me, but I
Yes.
also don't have to play a game every day, right?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right,
The
we'll
early
take
show,
it.
I don't know. We're just come on, Julie, you've got some hookups, right? Sharon, tell your friend Julie.
She does. She has some hookups.
Yeah.
Um, Well, Jason, I've taken way too much of your time,
No,
but
this has been a blast. Thank you so
I
much, Sharon.
appreciate you so much. And like, tell us again, where can people watch you? Because I'm
Okay.
not kidding. I'm calling my mom
Yeah.
right after.
All right, we're West 2 News. We are a duopoly, so we own the NBC station and the CW station. So from 4:30 in the morning till 10 a.m. on one of those two, the whole thing is on CW. So I just
Oh,
recommend you go there because at some point you'll lose us to the Today Show on NBC. Um, and so it's come to West, and we'd love to have you. And then we do this podcast that typically it's Rachel Riley, Hannah Chada, and me talking about Big Brother, kind of like you do, Sharon, and
yeah.
interviewing the house guests as they're evicted. But Rachel, obviously is going to be
A little
busy. But
busy.
Brendan says he's going to join us a little bit, and he's busy because he's got the two kids. Like he's, single parent for the summer, and I hope he's got help from his family coming in, Rachel's family coming in, because it's no joke the stress that he's going to be under just with her being in the house in the game, and then also managing all the kids stuff. Yeah, they're out of school, they're home, they've got a lot of time, and he's got a busy life and a career and all this stuff. So, but we're on YouTube. Just search the Secret Alliance podcast, and it started in 2020 because we had all this time and we
Oh,
were,
yep.
locked down. And Danny and I were talking with my brother, and my brother was like, "You guys should do this." And we're like, "I don't know how to do any of this." And so my brother basically put this whole thing together, and we just showed up every week, and then had a blast with it. And so Danny did it for a couple of years, and then she was like, "You know what? I'm kind of going to go into the background for a little bit,
Yeah.
fade into the
Hiding for a
background, and then
bit.
here, yeah, and then she pops up on guest appearances on Big Brother.
Reindeer
She's on
games.
Traders. I know. I should have known when Rachel last summer was like, "I'm really busy. It's like, oh yes, this is the setup before you emerge from your cocoon." As yeah,
Chada's next.
yeah, I know. She better not disappear on me this summer, but do everybody come to YouTube, just search the Secret
Yes.
Alliance, the podcast, and it's just fun. And the cool thing is it's people who played the game talking about the game with the current contestants or analyzing their game, and so yeah, I think it gives it a little bit of a different point of view. And I know there are a lot of them that have come up. So we've got the winner's circle, Hannah and some of the folks from her season have come in and created some podcasts. So there's a lot of great content out there. Find it all. But
That's
we
what
hope
I said.
you'll also
They're all different.
add to it. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
the different perspectives. And that's I love it because the feeds are gonna go down, and you can only look at cute puppies for so long. You need
Facts.
content.
Facts. And I recommend people to go back and watch the Secret Alliance podcast back during COVID and 2020 and all that because yeah, there was some great podcasts you guys did. So I would even
Thank you.
encourage people to go back and
Yeah,
watch.
go back. I mean, we love it. Like somebody made a comment on one that it was like, wow, this is 5 years ago, and yeah, it's a different cast, but if you watch that season, it's still interesting again. It's like I'm rewatching Bones for the millionth time, and just today I found out that the actress who plays Temperance Brennan, she's got a podcast with I can't remember the actor's name. She was had the baby with Sweets on the show, and so
Oh,
they're doing a podcast. And I don't know why I'm like spacing on everybody's names today, but I was like, well, I'm going to watch this podcast. I think they have some episodes on YouTube, but then they're on like podcast platforms, and they're just talking about like, here's our talk about what
as
happened
you,
season 1 of the podcast, and yeah, and so it's like I love this. Like I want to know what was happening, and on some day where you go, oh, was she sick then? Was this person really pregnant? And how they worked her pregnancy into the show, and it like changed story and a storyline because they brought these two characters together that they were having a baby together, and it was like because she was actually pregnant, and she was like, I'm not gonna hide this. Like you're not gonna get me behind a shopping bag and a
yeah,
prop and a
table.
set piece and a table. Yeah, she's like, this is not gonna happen. She's like,
I love all those
we're
nerdy
writing it in.
behind
Yeah,
the scenes things, you
yeah.
know?
Well, and they did that for The Office.
Yes.
And so Office Ladies, I think is what they
Ladies.
call it. Yeah. And so all of that, it is so fun to go back and watch. And it doesn't matter when you kind of catch it and find it, especially now, maybe after this season's over, then you go back and rewatch, that season from 2020 as you're listening to the podcast and like, oh, they were
Exactly.
way off. Or, I mean, a lot of the times I was so blown away by Danny's read and
Mm,
at that point in time, her read on the game, and now and Rachel and Hannah, and sometimes I feel like as I talk to them about the current season, it makes it more and more clear to me that I do not need to play the game again when I'm like, wait, do we really think this is going to happen? And they're like, yes, that person's going, or this is the move that's going to, and it's, like 3 weeks later, they've called it. And it's like, wow,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Like I am, I am not the gamer that I once was. It's like I'm busy with my day in and day out life and job and it's like I think that they're and Hannah, I mean, still very close to her season, and now Rachel back in the thick of it. It's like the insight that they're going to bring is so strong because it's been 23 plus years
It's
for
been a
me.
minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Exactly, Sharon.
Well, Jason, you are so humble, and honestly, like I said,
Oh,
I just
thank you.
appreciate you so much. There's a reason people love you, and yeah,
Thank
if we
you.
can't have you back on TV, we'll watch you anchor the news. That's okay.
Yes.
Um,
We love
well,
that. Well, and
thank you
and we'll
again.
do this like season after season. If people like it and they say have it back, I'd love to because it is fun. Even later in the season to talk shop
Yes,
about what's happened. I
please
think that
come on.
I think that's going to be really fun when we see how Rachel is really doing, and then I'm going to watch the episode. It's on the DVR, so as soon as we're done here
Okay.
this afternoon, and then it's on to the feeds. And what is nice sometimes is when I get up and they've had one of those crazy, crazy things happen where they're still up at, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like when I first get up and watch.
So you're like, wow, they're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
awake.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's midnight there, so it's not bad, but I do love that. And I'm like, I get to see everybody kind of some of the late night fights, and then everybody's like, oh, I'm going to bed, I'm shutting it down. But the craziest is when it's like they see the sun come up over there. It's like, yes,
And
this
you're
is
like, I'm
amazing.
going to work.
Yeah, yeah. Or I've been at work. I'm just watching in commercial breaks in the newsroom, right?
Oh my God.
That's my
Oh,
summer. It's all BB all summer long.
I
Thank you,
love it.
Sharon. I
Well,
really
thank you
appreciate
so
this. This is a
much.
blast.
Of course. And like I said, anytime, please come back. If you ever want to just like, you're like, I have thoughts. Please
Okay,
text me. Yes,
I sure will.
please.
I will.
All right.
Awesome.
Well,
Well, thank you so
have a
much,
great
everybody, for
day.
watching. And again, thank you, Sharon. Yeah, off
Thank you.
off to watch the next episode. Let's do it.
Let's go.